This video will take you through page 4 of our Module 3 practice test. We're going to do another percent question first. We're told that we scored 20 out of 26 on a test, and we want to calculate that grade as a percent, rounding to the nearest whole percent. From your formula sheet, you know that percent is equal to the part over the whole, and then we multiply by 100%. In this case, we're given the information here. We scored 20 points out of a total of 26 points on the test, so part over whole times 100%. On your calculator, 20 divided by 26 times 100 is 76.92, or to the nearest whole percent, 77%. So the score on the test was 77%. The last topic covered on this practice test is the trigonometry problems, so we'll take a look at some of those now. In question 6, we're told the recommended safety angle of a ladder against the building is 78%. We have a 12-foot ladder, and we want to know how high up the side of the building the ladder will reach. We're going to state our final answer in feet, inches, and fractions of an inch to the nearest 16th of an inch. So we'll need to go back to some of those conversions we saw earlier in the course. Reminder that as we're doing those conversions, 1 foot is 12 inches. Before we can do any of that, we need to first figure out how high up the wall the ladder will reach. From the information above, we've drawn this triangle. We have the ladder leaning against the wall of our building. The building meets the ground at a right angle. So we have our right triangle, and this angle of the ladder is 78 degrees. We're also told that the ladder is 12 feet. I want to know this distance here, how high up the wall the ladder goes. We can call that x. We have a right triangle, so we have two strategies with right triangles. We can use the Pythagorean theorem, or we can use the trig ratios from SOHCAHTOA. In this case, we can't use the Pythagorean theorem because we don't know two sides. We only know the measurement of the ladder, but we can label our triangle and use one of the trig ratios. So labeling from this angle here, because that's the angle we know, we can call it A if we like. Across from angle A is our opposite side. Across from the 90 degree is always the hypotenuse. And the other side beside our angle A is the adjacent side. If we think of our trig ratios, SOHCAHTOA, I need to decide which ratio to use, sine, cos, or tan. I know the hypotenuse, so that's found in both cos and sine. I want to find the opposite side, which is in sine and tan. So the trig ratio that has both my known and unknown value is the sine ratio. So from your formula sheet, we have the sine of an angle. We can use the theta symbol, or angle A is the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Subbing in what I know, the sine of my angle is 78 degrees equals the opposite side x over my hypotenuse is 12 feet. To get x by itself, right now it's being divided by 12, so I multiply by 12 on the other side. 12 times the sine of 78 degrees is equal to x. I can do that on my calculator, making sure my calculator is in degrees, which I can see it is. I can do 12 times sine of 78 equals 11.7377, and so on. Keep all that on your calculator. This would be feet, since our hypotenuse was in feet. To finally answer this question, I want to convert that to whole feet, whole inches, and fractions of an inch. So I can see here that I have 11 whole feet. I'm going to record my answer over here. I want whole feet, whole inches, and fractions of an inch. I know I have 11 whole feet. On my calculator, I'm going to take the rest of that decimal portion without rounding. 7377 and so on is in feet. I want to convert that to inches, so I'll multiply by the conversion 12 inches in 1 foot. So on my calculator, I get rid of the 11 whole feet first by doing subtract 11. And now I take that whole long decimal and multiply by 12 to convert it to inches. I get 8.85325 inches. So I have 8 whole inches. I want to take just that decimal portion without rounding it on my calculator and convert that to fractions of an inch to the nearest 16th of an inch. So I'm going to multiply by 16. On my calculator, I first take away the whole inches, so subtract 8, take that decimal portion and multiply by 16, and I get 13.65. I need to round to the nearest whole number, so 14, and my denominator is 16. So to the nearest 16th, I have 14 16ths. You do need to remember to always reduce if possible. This reduces to 7/8. So my final answer is that the ladder will reach 8 feet, 8 7/8 of an inch up the wall. So we used the trig ratios to figure out how far the ladder would reach up the wall. That calculation gave us decimal feet, and in this question we were asked to convert that to whole feet, whole inches, and fractions of an inch. The final video will take you through the last page of the practice test.